Hello and welcome to Abhigyan's Point. There is a laptop in front of me and obviously you can understand the amount of information flowing in from Jantar Mantar. But I have a very different point to raise about this. And the reason is to understand how protest and politics go hand in hand. And this is a very big challenge for government and for governments. Now let me give you an example of a 70s movement, 1970s, one of the biggest movements in the country, the JP movement. No internet, no smartphones, no smart cameras, nothing. But the movement was so huge that it brought the government of the day into question then. Then the second one I saw with my own eyes, which is of course everybody now remembers as the Anna Hazare movement in 2011, and eventually when it reached Ramlila Maidan, we remember how big it had become. Of course, there were political charges over it of being backed by the RSS, and now you have what has happened since the fast of Sonam Wangchuk. The point is that in all these protests, politics do get involved. Politicians do come there, or politicians back it. So you have to very consciously understand, the government after today has to very consciously understand that the protester could be from a political party, but could also be somebody like the youth of India who has nothing to do with any political party. So when you use force against that youth, when you use a lathi charge against that youth, you have to remember that. Now this is a very, very difficult and tricky situation, I understand, for any government to deal with. The government has started talking in this case, which is a very good sign. In my personal opinion, the government should have started talking much earlier. But as the government is talking and trying to find out ways, as the Prime Minister is saying to bring these youths on the right track, you also understand that you cannot be unnecessarily aggressive against them. That is my point. That is my point, because you have to understand that there is a very fine line between politics and protest, and all of this eventually takes a political shape, as we've seen. From the Anna movement came out Arvind Kejriwal, he eventually formed a political party of his own, the Aam Aadmi Party. So all this has happened in the past. This is nothing new that is happening in the country. The issue is new, of course, but the pattern of protest is nothing new. So the government has to realize, be sensitive, be cautious, and make that point that the innocent youth of the country who's fighting for a cause cannot be targeted with the power of the lathi. That is my point. Now this lathi is a very different lathi. This is not the lathi of Gandhi. Please understand. That is the difference I'm trying to make. So don't compare it in any situation. Now, that was a different period altogether. Gandhiji's lathi meant something else, but this lathi is force, the force of power. So when you talk about force of power and of course politics at the same time, you have to understand that basic difference. There are a lot of researchers. I spoke to my colleagues who talked about various structures being applied for movements to be successful, strategies being applied for movements to be successful, movements to have backing to be very successful. So various theories are there, but the ultimate reality, which I've seen through my experiences, no movement can achieve any kind of success of any nature without the power of the youth. So don't suppress that power of the youth under the notion that this is only political power. It can't be the power of the people of this country. It is not only political power. And that's the point which I want to make. And this, I know, is a challenge for any government. I'm not saying this is new. This is, of course, a challenge for any government. But address that challenge and then move forward so that youth doesn't feel that it does not have a right in world's largest democracy to protest or to oppose or to make its point of view. This is the most sensitive thing for any government of the day to understand. I'm not just saying about this government, governments which have been there in the past and governments that will be there in the future. This is the most important point to understand, and that's my point today.